Okay. Hi, Lauren.
Hello. Okay.
Go.
All right.
Hold him.
All right. So, hello. Welcome to East Carolina University and our Q&R session for parents today. So this is part of our new virtual new student orientation this year. So thank you for joining us and being so cooperative and adaptive with us on this. So I am here with my fellow orientation assistant, Ashley, and then we have Carrington in our comment sections. He is also an orientation assistant this summer. And if I forgot to mention it, my name is Lauren. So today we're going to cover some parent questions for our Facebook Live today. And it will be recorded and archived and available on Facebook after our session has ended today. In order to make sure we're following our accessibility guidelines, the recorded session will be closed captioned today. And if further accommodations are required, please contact the Office of Disability Services. And then today, audio. Yeah, does it work now? Carrington?
Lauren, you're a little spotty. I think I hear you better than most people because I'm in the direct line with you, but we're trying. Can everybody hear me okay? Let's see. Audio isn't good here. I don't know, other than maybe lifting this up so you can hear me better, maybe bringing you closer to my face.
Yeah, I love
that. Is it better? The second person may mute maybe. So I cannot mute myself. That is not an option on here.
Okay.
Sadly, it is not.
I'm getting some yes. Ashley's clear.
Okay. All right. Well, if for any reason Lauren answers a question and it's kind of spotty, let me know and I will do my best to tell you again what she said. Make sure you hear the full answer. Well, I'm so glad our audio's better. I think I had to take a minute and figure yourself out. So my name is Ashley Cook. I am a senior. We are both orientation assistants. So you have me and Lauren here, as Lauren said, and then you have Carrington and Haley, both in the comments, who are going to try to help you with answer back any comments you have. Because I don't know if you guys have ever used Facebook Live, but the comments for us are teeny weeny here at the bottom. So we try to catch as much as we can. But sometimes we miss it, and that's what they're for. And if there's a question that repeats a couple times, we'll do our best to make sure to answer those. So, okay. Well, I think everybody's hearing me okay. So that's good. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Do we have any questions yet? Well, I'm glad I said good.
It was fine the other day.
Yeah, I'm sitting right on top of my Wi-Fi. It's right here.
Behind me.
So does Honors College have an orientation also? The answer is typically yes. The Honors College does have a orientation of their own. I believe it is closer to the school year beginning that they are able to go in for their orientation and get acquainted with school. There's another question. Let me see if I can find it. Trying to find out where to locate a PIN number. Miss Julia, are you referring directly to the PIN number for registration? If so, that is going to be on ecu.edu/peer. If one of Haley or Carrington can put that in the comments, that would be great. I'm sorry, I'm reading the questions as I'm trying to answer. So again, that's ecu.edu/peer. And then you'll hit Start My Journey, and then it's port number 2 is where you can see both the PIN, which should be in red, and you should see like major guides if you're confused. Thank you, Haley, for putting that in there. If you're confused as to where to start registration. Miss Tiffany gave it to you. It is 082420. It was originally the first day of class, but we have thus been moved up earlier in August to have a good time on August 10th. Okay, let's see.
I'm wondering if I'm still sounding weird. I'm hesitant to answer questions in case it's getting a lot of feedback on my end.
Well, here, Lauren, I'll read you this question and we'll see if they can hear your answer. If not, I'll repeat back to them what you said. So there was a question from Miss Lynn that said, can student use their ECU email to log into Canvas yet?
Okay, so if you're referring to the orientation Canvas modules, I would suggest using the link directly from Pirate Port. Sorry, I'm reading our messages saying if I'm wearing a microphone. No, I'm not wearing a microphone. I'm trying to move so you won't hear me feedback. But I would definitely recommend using the link directly from their Pirate Port to go to those Canvas modules. But to log into Pirate Port, it is their ECU email, Pirate ID and password.
Miss Charlene said we registered today and we haven't received confirmation. So the only confirmation I know of is when I go back and look at my semester or week at a glance through Banner Self-Service, and I see that my classes pop up. I have never gotten a specific email saying, congratulations, your registration is complete. So I'm not exactly sure the confirmation we're supposed to be receiving there, but I know that that is how I did that. Okay, Miss April, I am reading your comment because of COVID. My son chose ECU without ever visiting the campus. During early drop-off, will we be able to walk around campus so he can get oriented with the layout? And will we be able to visit the bookstore? Lauren, did you hear that whole question?
Miss Lori was saying a suggestion for me to try and go get some headphones.
Okay.
So anyone else's end. I'm gonna try and do that.
Okay, sounds good. What is that? Miss April, the answer is we do not know. Due to the rules and regulations that we're going to have in August, we don't know because the rules and regulations we have now are for now. And as I'm sure you know, we are changing the rules every day and every week trying to figure out what the best scenarios to keep us all safe. So I would like to hope that the bookstore is open by then. They will most likely be on the limited capacity, only allowing in 50% of their max occupancy. But we are crossing our fingers and hoping for the best when it comes to the Dowdy Student Store. It is a rapidly evolving situation, and we are trying to make the best out of it. Let's see, next question. Are people allowed to drive around campus just to see it? Miss Alicia, I believe the answer is yes. ECU is pretty visible from the roads that go in and out of campus. And you can see all of our beautiful buildings and all the great buildings, and you can see the mall. And I mean, you should be able to pretty much see it from the road. The only one you might not be able to see fully down is through Wright Plaza and down towards the River Building because there's no road, but you should be able to drive around. Yes, just wear your mask. Do your best to be safe for both you and other people. All right. Mike and Sherry. COVID guidelines for what campus classes they have not been released yet, but ECU does have a whole bunch of task force working every day and doing their very best to figure out what is going to be the best way to have us all back on campus together safely. So we do not know if that's going to include masks, if they're going to be required or suggested. We do not know if that means that the amount of people allowed in class. All of this is being figured out. As I said, it is a rapidly evolving situation. So when we know, we will be happy to let you know. But please do know there are a bunch of task force and ECU representatives working to make sure that your student and all the other class of 2024 and the rest of the university is safe. That's the main priority. All right, let's find another comment. So let's see. So my suggestion, I saw on here a question about what I would tell myself if I went back to freshman year. I would tell myself to check my email, my ECU email every day. Do it every day. You never know when you're going to get a very important email from a professor, or especially now with orientation being online, you could get an email from the Office of Student Transitions or us. You could get an email from Student Health telling you they are still missing your immunization records. You could get an email from the cashier's office trying to give you the best new way to pay. You can get your email from housing telling you, hopefully, end of June, beginning of July is when you'll get your roommate assignment. So make sure to keep a lookout there, because you never know when a very important email is going to pop up in there. When and how do we pay tuition? So the sooner the better is my rule with paying ECU anything. The sooner the better. But you will contact the cashier's office, and if Carrington or Haley can look up their phone number to put in the comments. I believe I know it off my top of my head, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to give you the wrong one. But they're going to be the ones to contact, and I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know how to pay my tuition. I do it, and then I kind of it's just something I just automatically do. So it would be something the cashier's office would be happy to help you with. When will students hear from an advisor? She did registration this morning. Miss Mary, when the orientation assistants talked to the advising representative that we had, she said they should be reaching out to students within the week. So I'm hoping that between today being Tuesday and next Tuesday, you will have heard from your advisor. If you have not, you can always email advising@ecu.edu, and they will be happy. Just tell them who you are, tell them why you're emailing them, and they will be happy to try to direct you to the correct people to make sure that your student is well taken care of and can know their advisor. Let's go on.
Okay, Ashley, I tried coming back with headphones. Is it horrible?
I can hear you better, but I also hear more static. So I think it's just picking up more static too. But we'll see what our lovely parents in here are trying to say.
Because if it's bad, I'll just help in the comment section.
So
one better.
Okay. Miss Wendy asked, my daughter put in undecided major, but that has now messed her up getting some classes. Can she change the major herself? Yes and no. No, you cannot officially change it yourself. You would need to have a advisor do that. I'm sorry, I'm getting suggestions to lower my volume. So see if, let me turn Lauren up to 1. There you go, Lauren's on 1. So yes and no. Yes, the students, since they are undecided, can go in and kind of pick and choose the courses they would like to take to figure out how they will best determine their major. But no, you cannot officially change your major with the university yourself. An advisor has to do that. So you can email advising@ecu.edu, and tell them what you would like to do, and they will direct you to the correct people to help solve that issue. Okay.
So I just saw a comment come through from Maria that said her daughter completed the orientation modules paid the fee and went on Canvas today. However, she's still unable to register for classes. So from what I have been told, the hold will be lifted after she completes the orientation modules. However, sometimes it may take up to 24 hours to get that hold to be completely lifted. Ashley, did you have anything to touch on to that?
I'm sorry, I was trying so hard to turn my volume down and make sure I didn't drop my phone. No, I believe your answer is great. Okay, I did see another question I wanted to answer. Let me see if I can find it. So I have turned down the volume on my phone as low as it'll go. Like it says none. So I'm surprised I still hear Lauren. So I'm hoping we can hear each other better. Let's see.
And then a comment from Lisa. It said her daughter's a communication major and could not register for any communications classes today. She got an error. So that depends what type of error it was. You can actually go on to the academic advising website, which is advising.ecu.edu, and it will show you the different types of errors that are displayed and what they mean and what to do. So depending on what type of error it is, you can see that on the advising website.
Okay. Lauren, the comments are saying you are a lot more clear. So thank you for putting on your headphones. We will know for the future.
It was hard to find them.
I'm glad you were so quick to find them. Rebecca asked, Rebecca's comment moved. Will classes over 50 students only be online? So we do not know yet. We do not know what the line for being online will be. As soon as we know, we will be happy to let you know. That's another thing your student should be on the lookout for in their student email is the emails from the chancellor's office, letting you know what the new rules and regulations are going to be. So it is a rapidly evolving situation, which is something you're going to hear every OA say all the time. So we will let you know when we know, but check your ECU email.
There was another question about an error notice, but they didn't know, it didn't say what type, so that they would know why. Did they complete all of the orientation modules? Because sometimes that hold will be lifted within 24 hours of completing that online orientation, so it might not have allowed them to register for classes quite yet. Ashley, do you know a little more about that?
I'm sorry.
About error notices on classes.
Error notices on classes. So a lot of it will depend on the situation. My suggestion would be to reach out to the Office of Student Transitions and whether that's DMing them on Facebook or messaging them on Instagram. And because each error notice means something different, so they will be able to better tell you if it is like, I don't know, there is one type of error message that says like this class is specifically reserved for a specific student, whether that be in a living learning community or if they've signed up for a different program and they all have to take the class together.
And then another question from Brandy. It says, so what will the dorm life look like? Can they go to the bathroom and shower when they want? So as far as we have been told, yes, it will be free range within their own floor and residence hall. They have not released any information on whether or not masks will be required. But the visitor policy will be a lot more strict this year, just to reduce the spread of any potential virus or anything of that nature. But dorm life will try to be kept the same within the residence halls, so that way students can still get the feel of a normal college life. But sanitation will be, they'll be cleaning a lot more and deep cleaning. However, sometimes it might be hard if a student is already like brushing their teeth or washing their hands in the bathroom as they're cleaning.
Let's see. Are band members moving in early, Miss Tabitha? I do not know. I would be happy to look up the best way to contact the marching band directly. Let me see. Lauren, if you would like to answer another question while I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay. I think I saw a couple questions about the 8-week block scheduling. So I'll just go through a quick run through of that. So the first 8-week block is going to be from August 10th until September 29th. That's when finals will end for the first 8-week block. And then the second 8-week block is going to start on October 1st. And it will end the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving. I believe that's November 25th. That's when finals will end. So that way, if students are traveling over Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, any of the holidays that fall after Thanksgiving until we return on January 19th, if they're traveling, it gives them time to not come back and spread that to our campus, and time to quarantine after New Year's. So the 8-week blocks, I believe, are still going to be as normal as possible. We're hoping that all of our classes will, that are able to meet in person, will be meeting in person.
Miss Tabitha, I shared with you the email address for the Marching Pirates. It's marchingpirates@ecu.edu. I put it in the comments. That would be the best way to contact them directly, and they'll be happy to answer your questions. I do know that we will be doing a live session with them sometime in the near future. Right now, I don't know the date off the top of my head, but I do know that we'll have. And Lauren will look it up for us.
So I'm not sure if they will have one before this date, but the one I have right on my calendar right now is going to be Wednesday, July 1st, from 3 to 4 p.m. is going to be the Marching Pirates live session. And the platform on which it'll be on is still to be determined. So hopefully we'll have that information out for you shortly.
Okay, I plugged in some headphones, so hopefully that sounds better. Let us know in the comments if it does or does not.
It sounds better to me.
My phone. Okay.
I'm holding
mine
mine
too. I can hear you
too.
better too. It's a struggle. We're struggling together. Let's see. Miss Beth asked, will dorm rooms be single occupancy as a precaution for COVID? No, ma'am. When we talked to housing this past week, they said we're still going to be rocking with the double occupancy in the residence halls. If for some reason your student, Mike and Sherry, I'm so glad it's better. Awesome. Now I know. You are welcome to contact housing if you would like, if you do have some concerns about living with another person, but they will become the familiar unit for your student, and so the germs will be shared together. So we're still rocking with the double occupancy.
I think I saw a question about Parents Weekend. So I think Carrington was already on it in our comment section answering that yes, we will still be having football season as far as we know. It will still, games will still occur as normal as they possibly can until further notice. But as far as Parents Weekends goes, same thing with that. It will it's still planned as normal. But if anything changes, ECU Athletics does a really good job of sending out emails and posting announcements on all of their social media pages if that changes.
Let's see. Miss Renee asked, what have you learned from being in college that you wish you knew prior to attending? I'm going to give you the typical answer to kind of, you're going to expand your comfort zone some. You're going to become a new person. I also wish I knew how important my email was. I was that student that had 8 a.m.s freshman year and missed the email of my professor telling me that class was canceled for that day, and I showed up. I was mad at myself for not checking my email, and since then I have not gone to class without checking my email. Lauren, what's your advice?
Part of it you pretty much covered. Definitely stepping out of your comfort zone. And I think either Carrington or Haley was in our comment section on it. They said get involved. Yes, get involved. Make sure you utilize the resources that we have on campus. A lot of people or students might think going to our tutoring at our Pirate Academic Success Center is lame, but I promise you it's not. It's very helpful. You can schedule it by appointment. I know that I used to go during walk-in hours if they're still hosting those in the fall. So it was very helpful. Don't be afraid to reach out, go to office hours with your professors. Basically, office hours are times outside of the normal class meeting time where professors set aside time to answer any questions. If you have any of those or need help on the homework, where you can go to their office and do so. So definitely utilizing that and having a relationship with your professor to where you feel comfortable asking them questions. It'll help you in the long run. They'll be more understanding about grades most of the time and getting you help that you need.
There was a question Miss Rebecca asked, with the double occupancy, what happens if a roommate gets COVID? Will both students be quarantined in that situation? The answer is it's a rapidly evolving situation, and we have task force working on it to make sure that all students are safe and healthy when they come back to campus. I am sure we are going to get an email that will tell us what happens. When we did speak to housing, they did discuss that they were looking into what options they could provide for students if they did contract COVID. So we know that housing is working on it, and when they have a final decision, they will let us all know, most likely via ECU email. So again, keep your eyes open for that.
I saw a couple of questions, Carrington's already on it, about the dining halls being set up, and there was one right below it about the pros and cons of different meal plans. This is probably one of my favorite questions to answer for students and parents are about meal plans. So I know when I was an incoming freshman, I had so many questions about, what type of meal plan should I get? How are they? So there are 4 different types of meal plans for incoming freshmen who are going to live in the residence halls. So the first one is the purple 20. So that one you will get 20 meals, and then you'll get a set number of bucks. I believe you'll get more bucks than the other meal plans. I'll explain the meals and the bucks after I tell you which plans there are. And then the purple 40, you'll get 40 meals, and then a slightly lower amount of bucks. And then the purple 60, you'll get 60 meals, and then a slightly lower amount of bucks with that. And then the fourth one is just purple buck, or the purple flex, so you'll only get purple bucks and not any meals. So typically a meal, if you were to go to Chick-fil-A, that would be maybe a sandwich, fries, and a drink. That's your meal. But if I went to Starbucks and I just got a cup of coffee, that would be what you would use the bucks on. So pros and cons are basically how your student would like to eat. If they prefer more meals, if they prefer like just getting a snack, that would be how you would decide on that. What I recommend is going right in the middle and doing the purple 40, so that way they can figure that out, and they are able to change that per semester. And it is not 40 meals per week, it's per semester. It's a lot more than you think, since they do have unlimited access to the dining halls with all meal plans. So they'll be able to go into the dining hall as much as possible, whether they run out of meals or bucks. The meals do not roll over per semester, but the bucks roll over to the spring semester. Nothing rolls over per year. Sorry, Ashley, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. And then Miss Michelle asked a question, what about meal plans for transfer students staying off campus? So, I stay off campus in an apartment, and Lauren does too, so we are experts on this question. You will then have a gold plan, and your options do differ a little bit. You will not have unlimited access to the dining hall, but you will have the same sort of options. So like I know I got the gold 40 plan because I love Chick-fil-A, and I know that I'm going to want some nuggets, fries, and a drink during the school day. So I knew that a meal was the best way to go for me. So I went ahead and got the gold 40 plan, which had the 40 meals, and I believe it was 350 pirate bucks. I know one of the other orientations dropped the link in here to the meal plan, so you can double check me. But that is the plan that I went with. I know there's also a plan that you can just get all gold bucks, or you can even have things called bounty bucks loaded up onto your one card, which will allow you to pay for everything around campus, and it is also can also be used at retailers around town. Wow, I'm struggling today. So many words. But those kind of things can be found on the plan, on the meal plans, and the bounty bucks information can be found on the one card page because that is something specific to the one card. Let's see.
And then I saw a question come in from Alicia. Can freshmen get parking passes? Yes, freshmen can get parking passes. The date for that should be closer to July, maybe mid-July. They're still working on getting that date for when they will become available. So you can check the ECU parking website for more information. But typically it is based off of where they're going to stay on campus. So College Hill students, they will be able to get a A2 pass, and they'll be able to park. Those parking lots are around College Hill and right behind Gateway. And then West End and Central campus locations, that they're going to want to get a B2 pass, which is located right behind our West End Dining Hall off of 5th Street, where like Subdog's area is. And then any, wow, I'm losing my words today, any extra parking is going to be in our D-lot parking lot, which is where the baseball stadium is located. But don't worry, they won't have to walk there. There is a transit system through ECU that will take them up to that parking lot.
Then Miss Beth had a question. How soon should you expect an advisor to contact you after you have registered for classes? Miss Beth, I would say most likely within a week. So I would give them until Monday. I would give them Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week, and Monday to answer that. I did get a report from one of our bosses today that we had over 3,000 people register for classes today. So the advising departments are going to be very overwhelmed. But I know that they will get back to you as soon as they can, and they are here to help every student. And you are also welcome to email advising@ecu.edu if you have some burning questions that you need the answers for as soon as possible. Let's see, any advice on dorm room essentials? We don't want to bring too much. We don't want to have something that that their daughter will miss and wish she had. Shower shoes. Love some shower shoes. I always had an extra change of sheets. What else am I thinking? I lived in a residence hall that had a built-in closet. So the closet was built into the wall. So I did bring a shower curtain that I bought from Walmart to hang just to give my, I don't want to say give my clothes some privacy, but so I didn't have to look at them all the time. And so there was some decoration and didn't have to look at my clothes all the time. What else did I bring? Lauren, do you have any suggestions?
I see that Carrington or Haley have already put a link in there for what to bring. There is a list of things that you can and cannot bring, so be sure to check over that before you move in. But yes, definitely shower shoes, like a shower caddy that you can take with all your shampoo and towels, that sort of stuff to the showers. Cleaning supplies, like Clorox wipes. I always wiped down my desk or like my fridge area. I brought some snacks. Pillows, command hooks and strips. If you're looking to hang decorations, definitely recommend those. Yeah. And then I think I saw a couple questions about a printer. I brought a printer my sophomore year to the residence hall, but it is not needed. You can go
my
to.
phone is dying, so I have to take the case off to charge it.
You can go to Joiner Library and you will be able to print. There are some printing locations. Are you hearing me twice? I'm hearing myself twice. Okay, good. So there are some printing locations around campus as well. I believe it's like Pirate Print, and you can upload the document on that website and it'll go to a kiosk in some of the which is nice if you're not near Joiner Library. You could go to one of the buildings that have that kiosk and print it right out. You'll just log in with your Pirate ID and password. So that is a very good feature. Okay, good. The echo is gone now. Ashley. Okay, well, it looked like Ashley was frozen. I'm going to invite her back. Okay.
Sorry, I was frozen and I'm back now.
Welcome back.
Mike and Sherry, yes, we did lose me. I was trying to see if my phone was charging and then it all went hectic.
I think Renee said, do showers have a dry section to allow for dressing without getting clothes wet? Garrett Hall specifically. So I personally did not live in Garrett Residence Hall, but I did stay in Cotton on Central Campus, and I also have stayed in Fletcher Residence Hall and Clement, which are both on West End campus, and they both did have like a section outside of the shower, but still within like the stall. To where they could dry off or put clothes. So I'm not sure about Garrett. I actually have not been in the bathrooms in Garrett, so I wish I could answer your question. Yes, I did like West End. Central and West End both for me were the best that I personally found because I was closer to my classes on that side of campus, and West End Dining Hall. Hopefully Miss B is coming back. Everyone typically knows who she is if you go to breakfast down at West End Dining Hall. So I just really liked the atmosphere and how close it was to my classes.
See, now I speak from the other side. I lived on College Hill in Gateway my freshman year, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the community that, here we go, I'm trying, kind of low. Loved the community that, sorry, I was told to watch my mic and see if we hold it over here if that helps. I love the community that was up on College Hill. It was its own little community with Todd. dining hall, and the galley, which now has a Subway, a burger place, and a pod market, which is kind of like a mini gas station for all your every need, and a gym. Also, the walk down College Hill is not bad. It is maybe 5 minutes, and I have short legs, so uh, that was fun. So I enjoyed living up there. It was also very close to the football stadium, so I got up, I put my jersey on, I went to football, I then walked back, and I was in my residence hall in no time. That is something I really did enjoy about living on the hill.
Getting a little off topic from residence halls, I saw another question that says, is my student's banner ID in Pirate Port the same as their student ID? So I believe their student ID is going to be the first part of their student email, which is typically their last name, first initial, and the year that they started. So like mine would be my last name, Verzal, and then my first initial L, and I started in 2017, so it's 17. And then my banner ID, that's going to start with the B, the like 8-digit numbers that start with a B.
Let's see. Miss Jody, yes, I was in the Living Learning community. I was in the Camp Pirates Living Learning community with Haley, the other OA, in the comments. And I don't know if Miss Karen Smith has commented, but I know she is watching. And she was in charge of our Living Learning community, and I absolutely loved it. I loved being with that community. I loved taking the co-ed class together and taking the kinesiology class together. It helped me to make a rather large university smaller and give me some of my first friends. And I mean, I'm going into my senior year, and Haley's still with me, so there was something good about that Living Learning community.
I saw a comment from a 4-year College Hill alum. It said, yes, 4 years, old ACOG hall back then. My brother, I have a twin brother who goes to ECU, and he actually lived in, it's now known as Legacy. He actually lived there his freshman year, but now he's an RA in Jones. This will be his 3rd year as an RA in Jones. So he's the College Hill person, but I'm the Central and West End person.
Let's see. Carrington liked living on the hill too. He lived in Tyler. I do remember him saying that.
As you can see, we have a lot of orientation assistants who live on the hill. So I think I'm the odd one out.
I know that Zaria lived in Whitehall, and she was an RA in Whitehall, so you're not by yourself.
Oh, thank you. We are all pirates here.
Oh, Miss Alicia, you are in for a treat. If you haven't been there since your grad school days in 1994, you are in for a treat. We have so many new buildings. This main student center will knock your socks off. It is so awesome. It is so big. It has so many things in it. I mean, Raising Cane's alone makes me want to go back to school right now. There are a bunch of cool restaurants, and we have a black box movie theater. We have 3 ballrooms that turn into 1 mega ballroom. The student center by itself will just knock your socks off. And I talked with my mom, who is also an ECU grad, and every time she comes to campus, it wasn't like this when I was here. I said, I know, Mom, this used to be a dirt path. Now it's a road. So.
Thank you, Tabitha. Preferred West End. I feel like I'm not alone anymore. I definitely liked Central and West End. It was a better fit for me, but everyone has their own personal preference, so it's really just about what the student likes and if they prefer West End or Todd Dining Hall. I know when Minden Hall was open, I loved going over to Minden Hall, but now it's definitely the main student center.
Lauren, Sean asked for a kind of recap on the meal plan again. Can you kind of do a short synopsis?
Yes. So there are 4 different meal plans. Each one you'll get a different number of meals versus bucks. So the more meals you have, the less bucks you have. And then there's one meal plan where you just get bucks. But every meal plan, you'll get unlimited access to the dining hall, so you won't have to worry about starving, I promise. But a meal, so if you're deciding between one with more meals or more bucks, I like to think of it as if you're going to Chick-fil-A. A meal there would typically be a Chick-fil-A sandwich, fries, and a drink. But a buck, like spending your bucks, would be like if you're going to Starbucks and getting a cup of coffee, or going to the Pod Market and getting a bag of chips. So if you prefer more snack type options, then I suggest going with like the Purple 20 or the Purple Flex. But if you prefer more meals, then definitely go with the Purple 40 or the Purple 60. If you're unsure in general, then go with the Purple 40. It's in the middle. And then if you run out of meals or bucks, you can get unlimited access to the dining hall still.
And then Miss Beth asked if the residence hall rooms have refrigerators and microwaves. If not, are we allowed to bring them? So the answer is yes. Each residence hall has a standard size microwave and a mini fridge. Unfortunately, you are not allowed to bring any in addition unless you have something filed through disability services that will give you that that will allow you to do that.
So still some more questions about like the dining hall, the meal plans. If you run out of meals or if you run out of bucks mid-semester, you do still have unlimited access to the dining hall, and then your meal plan will reset the next semester. So don't worry, you won't starve, I promise you. Some friends save theirs and will buy you a meal or buy you something with their bucks, so don't worry, you'll be okay.
And then Melissa asked, how do most students carry their one card around? Lanyard, wallet. So I have a phone pocket on the back of my phone that has my one card, my license, and my debit card. They are my saving graces. Even now, being at home for the past couple months, I still have my one card at the back of my phone. So I know I use a phone pocket. I know that a lot of clubs and organizations hand out phone pockets that you are able to use to put on the back of your phone and help hold all of your cards. Some students do choose to have a lanyard where they kind of have like a little name tag piece and they put their one card in there where their keys are also attached. But a phone pocket is easiest for me. What about you, Lauren?
I use this. It was my saving grace. It's just a mini like wallet, so that way I can keep like my driver's license, my one card, my debit card, all on me, as well as having my keys. It was really easy. It fit in my pocket. They let me take it in on game days since it was so small. But yes, it was very convenient to have everything I needed right there.
Miss Tanya asked, is there an oven/stove in common areas of the dorms? So it depends on each residence hall. For example, I know that Gateway has a kitchen because I live there. But I'm not sure about any other residence hall. I feel like that is something you can find on the Campus Living website or call Campus Living. Lauren, do you have any insight?
I'm sorry, I was reading the comments.
No,
I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
Do you know any residence halls that have kitchens or stoves in them?
When I lived in Cotton and when I lived in Fletcher, both of them had a kitchen area with like an oven and a stove. I know Gateway, I think both of the Gateways do. But yeah. One on Central is Cotton, that I know for sure. One on West, and then I know for sure is Fletcher.
All right, Carrington in the comments is saying there's a kitchen in Gateway, Fletcher Hall, and the basement of Scott Hall that he is aware. Very cool. Miss Alicia asked, where do students do laundry? In your residence hall. Depending on your residence hall, it will depend on how the laundry machines are distributed. For example, I know in Fletcher they are on every other floor, alternating with the study room, where in some of your more tower dorms, like White and Clement and Green on West End, you have one large laundry room at the bottom next to the commons on the first floor. And laundry is free. So keep that in mind. Well, I say free, but it's all included in that one low price.
A question from Renee. Can furniture in the room be moved? If you mean by rearranging the furniture, yes, you can. Mine originally came stacked as bunk beds when I was in Cotton, and I just unstacked them. Well, I think my first year I kept them stacked, but then the next semester I unstacked them and we moved all of our desks and our dressers around. You can stack the dressers. If you get a loft for your beds, you can put your desk and your dresser underneath those. So yes, you can definitely rearrange your room.
And Campus Living did tell us that they will come out with suggestions on how to best arrange your room to make sure that your heads are not on the same side of the room. So maybe your head is closest to the door and your roommates is on the other wall, opposite corner, just to make sure that we are trying to protect each other and be as safe as possible.
Yes, free laundry rooms. I feel like college in general has come a long way.
Yes. I remember getting as a graduation from high school present was a bag of quarters that my neighbor had saved for me. I said, good thing there's a vending machine in Gateway. Bunch of snacks for me.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Miss Alicia asked, where do you get lofts? So that information can be found on the ECU Campus Living website, and it is a company that you will call and tell them which residence hall you are living in and that you do want a lofted bed, and they will come in there and they will loft it for you. That information will be included on your email that your student gets that is telling them their residence hall assignment that is coming hopefully at the beginning of July, possibly mid-July.
And then a question from Michelle, how does shuttle services work for the off-campus housing? So most first-year students don't live off-campus. However, there are shuttles going to the majority of our off-campus locations. I currently live in a location where they do offer that, and the bus comes every 10 minutes until 2 o'clock, and then it'll run every 20 minutes and then every 30 minutes. But there is an app where you can, whether you're on or off campus, where you can see the different shuttles and how long it will take for them to get to you and the destinations that it will stop at. So I'm drawing a blank on what the app's name is right now. Ashley, do you remember?
I'm drawing a blank. It is something about a bus. And I have it on my phone.
Yes, it's the Next Bus app.
See, we were working together.
Yes, it's perfect.
Michelle said, going back to the fridge and microwave question, did I hear correctly that there is one per room? Yes, ma'am. It is one shared between the students.
Yes, there is AC in each room, which is nice. I saw that comment.
First said, tried to get my son into co-ed for construction management. He was waitlisted. Any chance he can get in? My answer would be to email the orientation office at orientation@ecu.edu. Express that your student would like to get in and see what they suggest. They may, if there are only 3 people on the wait list, they may expand the class and say, okay, we can add the 3 people. But if there are like 26 on the wait list for the construction management co-ed class, they may create another one. All of that just depends on kind of if we're able to have teachers and professors for that class, and if we have enough students to make up for it.
So we only have a couple of minutes left, so we're going to start wrapping up with some of the last couple questions. I saw one that said back to laundry. Do students have to sit with their laundry, or do they leave a basket and the next person will move it if needed? Maybe it depends on the culture of each dorm. So I know for me, when I put my laundry in the wash, I took my basket back with me when it was in the wash, and I set an alarm on my phone. That way I knew to go back and move it. But most of the time, students, if they don't know how you want it dried, they'll put it on top of the washer or in the basket if it's there. But then when you put it in the dryer, same thing. I set an alarm on my phone to go back and get it. That way you're not sitting there for up to an hour waiting for your laundry to dry if you put it on that setting. But yeah, most people will just put it in your basket or put it on top of the machine if they're not sure or if the one is full and they need one. So.
All right, Lauren, one last good question. Will the gym be open? The answer is yes, but it will look very different than if you have toured the Campus Rec and Wellness in the past. All the machines are going to be spaced out to make sure that students are obeying social distancing. We, as students, will be responsible for cleaning the machines, and then some of the staff will also come around and clean the machines.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you for all of the appreciation. We're glad we could help you out today, and we're hoping that you'll join all of our departments for our future live sessions. Thank you for making the transition to online orientation a little bit easier than expected.
Again, so thank you for joining us. As a reminder, this session will be available on Facebook. So when we end, Lauren will make it a post on our Facebook. We hope you'll join us tomorrow at noon via the Instagram. And they will be discussing, that will be the student edition, so it will be student Q&As. So make sure your student knows about that and see if they can pop in. Feel free to visit our website at orientation.ecu.edu if you would like any more information. Again, thank you for joining us and have a great rest of your night.
All right.